May I come in, sir?
Please come, Siddharth.
Good morning.
Please sit down, Siddharth.
Good morning to you, sir. Thank you.
So, Siddharth, introduce yourself to the panel briefly.
So, my name is Siddharth Shukla. I was born in Azamgarh, Uttar Pradesh. Since my early childhood, I have been living in Northwest Delhi. I am a student of St. Xavier School, Sahabad. After that, I graduated in History Honours from Sri Guru Nanak Dev Khalsa College, Delhi University. I have been selected as an assistant commandant by CAP of 2020, and I am also preparing for the civil services examination.
So, let me understand this CAPF you have joined also, or you have taken short leave and then preparing?
So, the appointment letter have not been dispatched to date.
So, you have never joined CAPF?
Oh, not joined.
All right. So, Siddharth, you are from Azamgarh.
Yes.
So, tell us some special things about Azamgarh.
So, Azamgarh is a historically significant city. During the 1857 revolt, Babu Kuwar Singh of Aria, he camped in Azamgarh. Azamgarh was also a place of peasant movements in the 1920s and 30s. During Quit India movement, Gandhiji also went to Azamgarh. As far as literary personalities of Azamgarh are concerned, sir, Azamgarh has made significant literary contribution to India. Kedarnath Pandey ji, also known as Rahul Sankrityayan, was born in Azamgarh, as well as Shibli Nomani, who was a rationalist theologian of Islam, and he also wrote books like Siratul Nabi, etc. It is also a place of rationalist theology of Islamic school.
This Abu Salim, he also lived in Azamgarh?
So his maternal home was in Azamgarh.
Acha, he never stayed there.
I do not know about this.
No idea about it.
Maternal home.
All right. But tell me, terrorism, like Abu Salim is a symbol of terrorism. So, you think in India, the terrorist activity, barring the J&K area, like incidents used to happen now and then in various cities, and have come to have minimized?
So, to a large extent, terrorism has minimized due to improvement in the laws, administrative as well as political will, sir. Laws like UAPA and the NIA Act, etc. They have improved the action that can be taken against terrorist activities. The National Investigative Agency has also improved. It takes preemptive actions now, and empirically also number of terror attacks have declined.
How do you think J&K has improved? Can we conduct elections now, looking at the situation there?
So, as far as I studied in newspaper, the Election Commission of India has said that the denotification and all such process have been completed. And the Home Minister has also said that election would be conducted at the earliest. So, sir, ground has been prepared for conduction of election. The terror activities in Kashmir has also come.
Siddharth, you have done, your subject has been history, right? Now tell me, suppose if India's freedom struggle had been led by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and not Mahatma Gandhi, then what would have changed? Would we have got independence a bit earlier? The cost, the benefit? Just make an analysis.
So my analysis would be that Netaji was a brilliant leader. He was a brilliant speaker. He was a brilliant organizer. But the chief merit of Gandhiji was that he could take everybody on board. The capitalists, the communists, the Democrats, those who preferred village republics. So an issue was with Netaji was that he could be seen as partisan of the communist. During the 1939 convention of Congress, he was seen as a left-wing figure. Second of all, sir, Mahatma Gandhi ji strongly believed in democratic features, whereas Netaji's view was that India requires a strong hand after independence, after which India could transition to democracy. So Netaji could have won freedom earlier, but the democratic features of India, they would have taken a setback, but it is purely a conjectural argument.
Yeah, no, good. Budget, you must have studied or seen or heard, whatever. Now, how does this budget address the problem of unemployment, which is the biggest worry?
So, first of all, by increasing the capital expenditure by 33% to 10 lakh crore, it envisages government investment in building infrastructure, roads, Grameen Sadak, railways, which would have multiplier effect on employment as well as economy. So jobs would be generated by that. Second of all, sir, various programs such as Mangrove Mishti program, the increased allocation for PM Awas Yojana, which increases employment in the rural areas, and convergence with MG Narega. So these tend to improve employment in the coastal belt as well as the rural areas. Third, the government is following mission mode appointment in the.
And also tell whether this relief given to the income tax to the middle class or whatever, is it likely to increase the inflation?
So, due to the budgeting document, the tax foregone by virtue of the relief given to the new middle class is around rupees 35,000 crore, which is not that significant part of the India's GDP. It would only increase the investment by the household sector into the economy and can have multiplier effect. But in my opinion, effects on inflation would be very
less. Thank you.
Siddharth, I find you have a very interesting hobby, Nada Brahma mediation or something like that. What exactly is the correct pronunciation?
It's a Nad Brahm.
Nad Brahm mediation. How does it happen?
So Nad Brahm meditation basically means the sound of the universe. Nad Brahm. In the Nad Brahm meditation, there are 4 stages. For the first stage of 30 minutes, an individual does Brahmari. He sits cross-legged.
Okay, it's okay. Brahm.
After that, for 7.5 seconds, there is a music that goes on in the background. An individual unfolds his hand gradually from its navel. And in that moment, he sees himself as part of the universe. For the next 7.5 minutes, he unfolds his back again and sees the universe is in himself only. For the last 15 minutes, an individual just looks at himself with the inner working of our mind without any thought, without any.
So, what is Nad Brahm in all that?
So, Nad Brahm means the sound of the universe.
No, that is understood. But when we are sitting for meditation, do we get any such sound from somewhere?
When an individual does Brahmari, sir, at that moment when an individual concentrates only on this part of our being, so that sounds kind of washes away everything, the thoughts that pressurizes the mind, and in that moment there is only he himself.
So where, from which book it is copied?
So, I have not studied the book, sir. Osho Rajneesh ji, he popularized this meditation technique.
This technique is from that line of thinking, Osho line.
If we could take it back, sir, in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, also it is written that an individual should sit in a calm room, cross-legged, and he should make Om and boat and pass over to the other side. So I found that it has justification in the Shvetashvatara as well.
Okay, very good. And do you derive any benefit out of it?
Sir, I've been practicing it for 3 years and the benefits have been remarkable to
Very
the extent that I can perceive.
Tell me that Rakhi Gadi, there has been some excavations. Do they modify the timelines of history?
So to the extent of my knowledge, Rakhi Gadi is one of the biggest Harappan site, and recently there was a DNA study that was done there, and they saw that the DNA of the Harappan people continues in the present day generation. I know only that much.
So dating, you are not clear.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. On the general principle of dating, we all know about carbon dating. Is there another way for dating?
So
lab analysis I am talking.
So other than carbon dating, there is also radioactive dating, in which radioactive substances such as uranium etc. are used to date, phosphorus etc. are used to date more precisely rather than carbon dating.
So, which will be more precise? That radioactive dating is more precise?
Yes.
What exactly happens in this dating?
Sir, in dating, the substance that constitute an material, they have a decay process. They decay in specified number of years. So, by seeing to what amount the substance is present in the material, one can see how much it has decayed and know that if phosphorus decays half in 12,000 years and it has decayed to the extent of 50%, one can conclusively say that it is around 12,000 years old, the material.
Okay. Everybody is talking of collegium system these days for quite a time now. Collegium system. In the constitution book, do we find this term, collegium system?
No, sir. The collegium is not mentioned in constitution. It is only mentioned that the president should appoint the judges of the Supreme Court in consultation with the Chief Justice.
So where from this term came?
So in the second judge's case, it was ruled that the appointment to the higher judiciary would be by virtue of a collegium of the CJI and 2 senior most justices of the Supreme Court, and when the High Court judges are improved, 2 senior most justices of the High Court. So in the 3 judges case, it has come to the fore.
Okay. And what is the objection against it?
Yes, first of all, the primary objection against the collegium is that it goes against the constitution. The constitution gives the president the primary role of appointment in consultation with CGI, whereas the collegium system shifts the appointment that initiates from the CGI. Second of all, there is...
Then if it is against the constitution, then somebody must have, could have gone to Supreme Court declaring it ultra vires.
It is only an argument against it, but the president gave it to the Supreme Court to look over it. In the 3rd judge's case, Supreme Court affirmed that it is within the four corners of the constitution. As an argument, it is there that the president should initiate with the president. And the second problem with the collegium system is that judges appoint judges, which goes against the principle of separation of powers. Thirdly, the National Judicial Appointment Commission and the 99th Constitutional Amendment that was passed
while cancelling the new NJAC, the Supreme Court had issued certain you can say suggestions, if not guidelines, how a NJAC can be redone. Any idea what they suggested?
So one of the suggestions was about a memorandum of procedures that would be finalized by the Supreme Court in consultation with the government, in which the collegium system could be amended by having some government representative on the...
Okay, thank you.
Siddharth, you have a hobby of reading spiritual books.
Yes.
So which is the book you read last, and what have you learned from it?
So the last book that I read was Kane Upanishad. The primary learning of it was that empirical investigation of things has a limit. There is a cause that precedes everything. The Kane begins with the statement that willed by whom does the mind go towards a directed object. So it tends to show that there is something that is behind the mind. It is consciousness, pure consciousness. The major learning of it is that when an individual sees all in himself and himself in all, he loses hatred, he loses fear, and he becomes more powerful by virtue of that knowledge.
Okay, football. Which country has football integral to its culture?
So Brazil.
Right. What are the causes for trifurcation of history, Indian history? Why do we have ancient, medieval, and modern? And do you agree with this kind of trifurcation of history?
So Indian historiography seriously began with the colonial administrators. They divided history into Hindu, Muslim, and this. But the modern scholarship in history divides history into 3 parts: ancient, medieval, and modern. The changes are seen from the socio-economic factors that predominate in an age. So for the medieval factors, feudalism, etc., are seen as predominant factor. The trifurcation of India into ancient, medieval, modern is somewhat normal, but it glosses over a significant number of facts, because there are periods such as between 600 AD to 1200 AD CE, which are known as the early medieval period. Now that could be classified as a separate period in itself, because it was a period of remarkable change, but the trifurcation glosses over some important facts.
Okay, good. And should we be claiming reparations with the UK?
There is a very strong argument that the United Kingdom systematically looted India for 200 years. But sir, as Hegel said, history should be seen as a pointer towards the future, as a repository of good things rather than being stuck over of reparation. India and UK are now improving their relationships by leaps and bounds. So there is an argument for it, but it should not be taken to extreme.
Okay, good. What are advantages and disadvantages of cashless economy?
So the first advantages of cashless economies are, first of all, it improves financial integration. Even those areas where cash cannot flow, the digital economy can flow there. Second of all, it integrates the economy. Small vendors became part of the digital economy, which were earlier outside. Third, sir, it has remarkable potential for allocation of credit in a better manner. Fintech services adoption could improve by virtue of cashless economy. But there are also, sir, some various disadvantages. It integrates some section, but it also removes some section from the economy. Those who could not adopt technology at a better pace, those who do not have mobile phones, etc. And second of all, sir, surveillance of economy, or I'm sorry, sir, I'm unable to.
No, cyber crimes. That's what I think you.
Yes, surveillance of economy, cyber reduce and cyber crimes.
Security.
Yes.
Unsafe. All right. Freedom of speech is often debated. Is it misused or suppressed? What is your opinion?
So, in my opinion, freedom of speech and expression as guaranteed by Article 19(1)(a) is an essential part of a democratic process. It replaces revolution in a democratic manner. There are some grounds by which it could be suppressed. There are some reasonable restrictions. In my opinion, there is a balanced way in India. India gives a significant amount of freedom of speech, be it movies, be it books, etc. But India is also a very diverse country with large number of religion and caste, sex coexisting. So there are grounds for restriction which are justly used.
Siddharth, India aspires to become a $5 trillion economy by 2027. So, where do you see the role of Uttar Pradesh in this?
So, Uttar Pradesh is home to 1/6 of the population, around 20 crore people. So, it would play a remarkable role. First of all, the $5 trillion economic goal cannot be done without agricultural prosperity. Uttar Pradesh is the largest producer of wheat, potato, as well as sugarcane. So, agricultural development of Uttar Pradesh is essential for reaching the $5 trillion target.
Next.
Secondly, sir, industrial development. Without industrially taking Uttar Pradesh forward and having some laggard state in industrial development and some forward state would create widespread inequality. So, industrial development of Uttar Pradesh is essential. Thirdly, sir, Uttar Pradesh is house to cities such as Noida, etc., which are the powerhouse of India's IT and service sector. So, without proper governance, infrastructure, investment in Uttar Pradesh, the $5 trillion economic target would be unachievable to some extent.
Okay. So, which CAPF you have been selected for?
So, the Central Industrial Security Force.
That was your choice, or it was given by?
So, it was my first choice.
First choice. So, you wanted to avoid combative force. CISF is more, I think, is the most peace station, isn't it, as compared to BSF or CRPF and ITBP?
So it was not avoidance, it was preference. I preferred a better work-life balance, but given a chance of working in any force, I would have worked with that much.
Okay. So when we have army, so what is the need of having CAPFs to guard our borders? For example, ITBP, China, BSF, Pakistan, SSB, Nepal, etc. When we already have more than 1 million army personnel. So what is the need of having CAPF?
So having border guarding force at the international boundaries, they reduce the chances of conflicts spiraling out of control. After the 1965 war with Pakistan, this lesson was learned that border guarding force as the first line of defense would be better. Secondly, the army is a blunt instrument. It cannot be used to that extent for internal security purposes. The border guarding force as well as the CRPF, they are used for riot control, for fighting Naxalism, radicalism, insurgency, and they secured the army's bluntness so that they could be used as a last resort.
Our Honorable Home Minister of India made a statement last month that Naxalism would be wiped out from India by 2024. So, what is your view on this? What gives our Honorable Minister so much of confidence?
So, Sri Manmohan Singh they defined Naxalism as the biggest target because at that point it was spread around 110 districts in a large number of states and there was a contiguous red corridor. But now, from Ministry of Home Affairs document, it is seen that it has been restricted to around 30 districts and the interstate linkages of the red corridor has been broken down. Thirdly, the central armed police forces such as CRPF, etc., their camps are increasing even in the most Naxal-dominated areas like Bastar. Naxal attacks have come down significantly. The number of deaths inflicted by Naxals has come down. And finally, sir, the development projects in the backward areas, such as in the Bastar belt, the Gurupriya bridge built in the Naxal-dominated area.
The MHA devised a strategy about 3 years back to tackle Naxalism. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. It was called the Samadhan strategy.
Good. Now, in the budget on 1st February, Honorable Finance Minister came out with this term of Saptarishi. In what context the Saptarishi was used?
So, the Honorable Finance Minister used the Saptarishi as the guiding force of the Amrit Kal. Various elements such as inclusive development, green growth, they were labelled as a Saptarishi as the guiding lights which would guide the government in its policy making.
Okay. My last question, Siddharth. Can you name few schemes or some legislative action by the Government of India to promote inclusive growth?
So, in the budget itself, there was a scheme for the development of particularly vulnerable tribal groups. For the tribals, there is the Eklavya model schools, tribal development plans are prepared. For the marginalized communities such as the minorities, post-matric scholarship have increased. There are also schemes like Nai Udan, Nai Manzil for the minority communities. For the scheduled caste and the other backward classes, there are also post-matric scholarship schemes by the Government of India for the artisan and the worker section.
Okay, thank you.
Siddharth, tell me about G20 presidency for India. How can India make the best use of it?
So, India is the G20 president for the current year. India has highlighted its areas where it would focus like climate change, etc. By G20, India could emerge as the voice of the global South. India is linking its G20 presidency with the campaigning for the South. Second of all, sir, India could play the role of the global peacemaker. G20 presidency opens an opportunity of linking talks of Russia with the West. Thirdly, sir, G20 presidency opens a large number of economic avenues for India for economic growth and development, etc. Partnership with like-minded partners. Fourthly, it shows India's rising stature in the world. The G20 presidency is a testament to India's rising stature.
Okay, tell me about zero budget natural farming and why there is need for it.
So, the zero budget natural farming project mission was conceptualized by Subhas Palekar. It has various components such as Jeev Amrit, Bij Amrit. It basically means that by using natural products, the input cost of a farming project would be reduced to zero and productivity would increase manifold. The harmful impact of fertilizers and pesticides on the agriculture productivity, as well as declining soil productivity and the impact of climate change on agriculture, required a shift towards natural farming, which is more in line with environmental concerns as well. So, ZBNF would help in that.
So, tell me how many types of meditations are there and how is Nada Brahma meditation different from Vipassana meditation?
So, I'm sorry, sir, I do not know about the all types of meditation.
Okay, how many of you do know?
I know about the dynamic meditation, Nath Brahm.
So, how is Nada Brahma meditation different from others?
So, there are some dynamic meditation techniques in which there are a lot of dynamic products included, like Brastika. One has to stand and exhale his breath at the highest scale. There is Vipassana, which is very calm. In that, there is the active component is very low. But in Nath Brahm, there is a balance between the active and the passive. For the first 30 minutes, an individual exerts himself in pushing out, doing the Brahmari. But in the last 30 minutes, he is almost passive. So, it's a balance.
Okay, so my last question, Siddharth, why do you wish to join civil services?
So, first of all, public service has been my goal from my very childhood. Second of all, it's a wide field of work, a wide avenue of work. Thirdly, it is a edge level of public interface. Fourthly, sir, the social prestige, the career perspective, very remarkable.
Okay, thank you, Siddharth. I pass on to Chairman, sir.
So, Siddharth, we have asked quite a few questions from your DAF. If you think that we have missed out on any topic, from your DAF. Then you point out so that I can ask the last question.
So you can ask about Delhi.
You can ask
Since
about
my
it.
early childhood, I've been living in Delhi, or my college.
Oh, actually, presently you are in Northwest Delhi. So you are aware of, the issue before the Supreme Court about the administrative powers, right?
Yes.
So what is your view? Who should have the administrative power? The elected NCT government of Delhi, or it should continue with the Lieutenant Governor, and why?
So the matter is in the Supreme Court is about the control over services. The union government believes that services should be under them. The Delhi government demands that they should be under them. Sir, in my opinion, there should be a balance, because subjects such as police, public order and land are under the union government, and the superior civil services, the IAS and the IPS, without having control over the IPS, the Lieutenant Governor cannot control the police. But there are also subjects that are transferred to the Delhi government, such as health and education, which also require superior bureaucracy. So, ultimate control should vest with the LG, but there should be a avenue of cooperation between the LG and the Delhi government, such that both can work on their own field, which has been demarcated by the constitution, and there is a continuous give and take between them. No one feels left out, or no one feels that they cannot do their work.
So that is basically advisory. You are not in favor of, you are in favor of status quo. Whatever legal position is, that should not change. It's only that they should cooperate with each other. Is that it?
So there should be institutional mechanisms for that.
There should not be any legal. Today, so when the matter is before Supreme Court doesn't just give advice. Supreme Court will either reject or accept or pass some law, some judgment which will be law. So I am asking you from law point of view. If it is only advisory, then there is nothing why should they have gone to the Supreme Court. You're not sure about it.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not sure about it.
Which way you should go, you're not sure.
Sir, in my opinion, sir, the control over the services would to some amount has to vest with the LG, because police, public order and land.
No, but it is already with LG. LG has all the powers. Functional powers are with the Delhi government.
Arguments of the Delhi government that their ministers' orders. That
It is the Delhi government which is asking for powers. Are you aware of this, or you are saying the other way around?
So I am aware of it, sir. The contention of the Delhi government is that without the power of appointment, promotion and
So
transfer,
is their contention correct?
So to some extent,
So Supreme Court will either say ki all right, transfer of IAS officers will be done by NCT government, right, and not by LG. It will not say that one you will transfer, one LG will transfer. I don't think Supreme Court is going to. So what do you mean by some?
so my sum is my argument.
Anyway, you're not very sure. Doesn't matter. So Siddharth, we conclude our interview here. So we'll call you again in 2-3 minutes for the feedback. Meanwhile, you can proceed to the next one. Right?
Thank you, sir. May I come in, sir?
Come, Siddharth. Better, Siddharth. So how do you think you have done?
लास्ट में सोच रहा हूँ कि नहीं बोलता, कोई क्वेश्चन ही मत पूछो सर, लास्ट वाला क्वेश्चन।
वो तुम नाथ ब्रह्मा और वो भगवान में यकीन करते हो कि काश नहीं पूछता, ये तुमने क्यों नहीं कहा कि काश में सही जवाब देता है? मतलब आप अपने उस पे स्टार्स पे और उस पे ज्यादा रिलाई कर रहे हो कि वो नहीं पूछता तो कुछ नहीं होता। ऐसे तो कोई भी प्रश्न नहीं पूछते तो आप बिल्कुल आते और निकल जाते। So okay, that was a very bad reflection of your personality, but otherwise you are very good. We have deducted some marks because of your last thing, and it is not that we are counting 20 questions में से एक नहीं दिया तो 1/20 means इतना पर no, because it showed your indecisiveness about taking a stand. Neither you are working under Supreme Court, nor are you working with NCT government. Are you? right? You are joining a different organization altogether. And in the interview room, you have to take a view, right? You should not be scared of superior. अरे मेरे verdict से पहले तुमने बता दिया सिद्धार्थ क्या करना चाहिए हमें. We are asking everyone like this. Okay, not just this. Most of the questions in the main interview of UPSC are also related to giving your views. You should have been firm about it. What is your decision now?
So my decision that ultimate control should rest with the LG, but there should be some mechanism in which the ordinary orders that the Delhi government passes should be followed unless the LGs reserve them.
Very confusing. Never attempt this. Take one stand and give reasons. Right? Whatever Supreme Court may decide tomorrow, you don't have to predict and forecast and astrological prediction करो कि क्या होगा मैं वही जवाब दूँ. No. The status of Delhi government, is unique. It is not like an ordinary governor and chief minister. It is not a full-fledged state as we have other states under the constitution. There is a separate article for that. There is another law which has come in between, which has given what is state, the LG is the state. Right? So, with all this background, what have you to, आपके हाथ में क्या है? So, you must say कि sir, given the present legal this thing and the constitutional mandate, the mandate of the people, constitution में क्या है? When you amend the act, amend the constitution, it is a constitutional amendment which has been brought about by public representatives. So the मंशा जो थी या है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट की वही थी जो आज है. So there is no point in changing. That is one, sir. Number two, on merit, Delhi is a national capital. If it had been Goa or Pondicherry or other places, there would not have been any issue. But Delhi is unique, and being national capital, the union government having the powers is the right way, and functional powers in any case are with you. Listen, you read the excerpts or the actual arguments given by both sides. इधर सॉलिसिटर जनरल ने पक्ष में कहा कि नहीं कोई चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए, उधर उनके वकील ने कहा कि ये होना चाहिए. तो उसमें उन्होंने कहा कि ACR तो सब आप ही लिखते हो, NCT गवर्नमेंट का CM writes the ACR, and there are many more things. Just read about it. Okay? Otherwise, Siddharth, you have done very well. I think I have nothing to add from my side. Your Netaji Subhash Chandra answer was very good. आजमगढ़ में मुझे पता शायद बनारसी साड़ियाँ बड़ी फेमस होती है, आप उसकी बहुत ज़्यादा हिस्ट्री में चले गए. If somebody these days they are asking this question, about the place, तो आप मिक्स सा बताओ ना, पूरे हिस्ट्री में नहीं जाओ. आजमगढ़ was is an old historical town. Today it is famous for बनारसी साड़ी and whatever. कुछ आपने एक दो चीज़ें और अगर हमारे बाकी है तो वो बता दीजिए. कोई मंदिर है, कोई मस्जिद है, और
ब्लैक पॉटरी, हाँ, दुर्वासा जी.
बेटर भाई, हम तो गए नहीं आजमगढ़. ठीक है ना? तो ये बताओ, मिक्स सा बताओ, कल्चरल भी बताओ, हिस्ट्री भी बताओ, है ना? कुछ फेमस चीज़ है वो भी बताओ, कुछ इनफेमस है वो भी बताओ.
वो टेररिज्म वगैरह वाला भी
बता सकते हो. जब अबू सलेम द टेररिस्ट आल्सो हेल्ड फ्रॉम दैट प्लेस, और हिज फैमिली हेल्ड फ्रॉम, आई डोंट नो हिज हिस्ट्री. सो बट उसको अगर उसके अलावा अगर कुछ है तो अनलेस कोई पूछे भी आबू से, मैंने पूछा आपसे somebody can ask, तो उस पर आप बट चल के आप नहीं भी बताओगे तो ये नहीं कहेगा अरे तुमने आबू सलेम का ही नहीं बताया. कोई ऐसा कोई वो तोप थोड़ी ना है वो, तो उसके बारे में बता रहा था. ठीक है ना? सो बाकी आप बताएं.
तो सिद्धार्थ, आपका जो पैशन है वो अच्छा लगा ये स्पिरिचुअल बुक में और नाथ ब्रह्म में भी, तो दैट्स वेरी गुड. और राखी गढ़ी के बारे में कम जानकारी है ना. हाँ, क्योंकि उसका जो सैलिएंट फीचर है वो यही है कि आज तक हमारी जितनी जानकारी थी वो इस जानकारी को और पीछे ले जाता है। जो अपना हड़प्पन काल है उससे बहुत पीछे ले जाता है, तो वो उसका इम्पोर्टेंस है। और दूसरी चीज़, राखी गढ़ी का जो जगह है वो बताता है कि केवल सिंधु नदी में ही नहीं है, हम थोड़ा इधर की तरफ भी आते हैं तब भी हमको वही सभ्यता मिलती है। ठीक है, और इसके और भी फीचर्स हैं जो कि आप खुद पढ़ करके समझें कि इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है। ठीक है, ओके।
Siddharth, well done. All the questions you attempted very well. All right, just look into whenever we talk of cashless economy or digital things, cyber security becomes the issue. So that was the only thing you missed. Rest all you were good. I especially liked your reply on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Excellent.
Well, Siddharth, I think all points have been covered by Chairman Sir and honorable members. You are a very good candidate. I liked your confidence, your overall personality, smart, and only I think a little bit of brushing up of your current affairs. That's all, and clarity on some situational questions. Okay, all the best. But Shiv, आपका इंटरव्यू कब है?
सर 7 मार्च।
7 मार्च। तो एक दो इंटरव्यू ना आप शेव वगैरह करके थोड़ा अच्छे से कॉम्बिंग वगैरह प्रॉपर का ध्यान रखिएगा, और टाई भी थोड़ा देखिए, टाई भी ना थोड़ा देख लीजिए टाई को। ओके
Siddharth, I share the same opinion. Just to add, read more on types of meditations. है ना, पूछे जा रहे हैं हॉबीज पे पकड़ पकड़ के सवाल डिटेल में, है ना। और दूसरा, इन वाइस सिविल सर्विसेज में आप चाइल्डहुड वर्ड को अवॉइड कीजिए, ये मत बोलिएगा चाइल्डहुड, ठीक है। अदरवाइज यू वर वेरी गुड।
So that you may be asked questions from CAPF also, right? And 7th March probably will be around just before Holi. So you are in UP, Bridge ki Holi, and these, be prepared for that also. And history about behind Holi. And just one point, your Nad Brahma question answer, you got into a passion to explain to someone, साहब नाद ब्रह्मा ये होता है, 3 सेकेंड ये होता है, 4 सेकेंड ये होता है, क्या जरूरत थी उसकी, है ना? You had just summarized in the beginning, नाद ब्रह्मा is the, क्या है? Sound of the universe, and it is linked with Brahma's name. Brahma, it is linked with Brahma. Nad means आवाज, ब्रह्मा means ब्रह्म की आवाज। अब उसमें आप शुरू हो गए 3 सेकेंड के, फिर 4 सेकेंड के, हु इज कंसर्न अबाउट इट? तो हम सीख थोड़ी ना रहे नाद ब्रह्मा, बट आप पैशन में भेगा कि वो मेरे से नाद ब्रह्मा पूछ लिया, ठीक है ना। ध्यान रखना अपने पर्सनल सब्जेक्ट्स में, हॉबीज में आप लंबे, अक्सर कैंडिडेट्स बोलते जाते हैं, यू मस्ट स्टॉप समवेयर। ऑलराइट, इन अदर क्वेश्चंस यू आर एब्सोल्युटली परफेक्ट, ठीक है। इवन योर इन्फ्लेशन थिंग व्हिच यू मेंशन अबाउट इनकम टैक्स thing, I was very happy. You knew the numbers also, and that amount will not have much impact. So that we have given you 69%. We were about to give 71% to you and cross the 70% mark, but for the last answer. So,
69 is 190 marks.
Situational questions, as honorable member has also pointed out, develop some more in your mind. There was no time for us to ask you. You are the DM of Asamgarh. You know, your SP is not taking action. भीड़ सामने खड़ी है, पत्थर फेंक रही है, आग लगा रही है. What would you do? Your SP has run away. Something like that. Something where you have to decide. You have to be decisive. Show that I would take a decision. ठीक है? All the best.